Good morning, everybody. My name's Lorelle Stranaghan. I'm the coordinator for Pest Free Howick Ward. This is Ethan McCormick, our awesome conservation assistant, and he'll be talking to you a bit later in the presentation about the cadetship. So I'm just going to do an overview of our project so far. We are a Howick local board funded project and very grateful to the local board for their support. Oh, it's me. So this is our team. We have several members here today, but starting from left to right is Kate Jessup from Sustainable Schools, Nigel Zhang, he's our Chinese Community Engagement Conservation Advisor, myself, Ethan, Gurja Bulla, Dr. Daria Eristova, both conservation assistants, and Nicholas Erickson from the Natural Environment Southern team from Auckland Council. So this is our Howick Ward, our area. We're in a very unique location with the Bucklands Beach Peninsula and all the coastline. We have four, that's with the proximity to the Hauraki Gulf Treasure Islands. We have 4 areas of ecological significance. So from top to bottom, Music Point, Mangamangaroa Reserve, Point View Drive Reserve, and Murphy's Bush. We've been developing a beautiful website, which has a really wonderful way of showcasing all of our events and projects that we've done. And a part of that we're extremely proud of is being able to offer our community groups a place for them to host their websites. Obviously, websites cost money, and they don't have that access, so we're able to offer that to them through our funding. We run a schools moth plant competition every year. This is a wonderful event to raise the awareness for the moth plant and how invasive it is. We run it through the schools primarily and have a lot of engagement. So our results this year, we collect pods and small vines by the roots. So 89,738 pods and small vines. So that's up from 54,000 in 2021. So really significant numbers. If you base that on a 700 seed estimate per pod, then I'm going to call it 63 million seeds, because we haven't even accounted for pulling out the vines that would have had hundreds of pods potentially. So each team gets a moth plant competition kit. In that there are protective gloves, protective eyewear, herbicide gel. We ask the teams to cut and paste the vines as well. Full health and safety and instructions on the competition and how to send in their entries. And they all need landowner permission before they go running off onto properties, even though they might want to. They need to have landowner permission. So they have moth plant flyers from Auckland Council in that kit they can leave for the homeowners, and they have some instructions on how to approach. So I'll just run through some of the prizes that we had this year. This is the thickest vine. It was 7.5 centimetres wide, was the winning vine this year. You'll see there's a wheelbarrow full of pods. This was an initiative from one of the teams and the parents, so we're getting everyone involved. The kids are great motivators for parents and grandparents. So they had a competition there, how many pods in the wheelbarrow, and got a whole bunch of locations from their school community coming in, and we were able to give them some native plants as a gift. So we have the most small vines by the roots. That was 7,637 vines. The first prize for the preschools, 5,122 pods and small vines. The primary school winners, 15,268 pods and small vines. And this team, the competition runs for about a period of 8 weeks. If they get in if they register when they're allowed to from the date, they can maximise their time. So this team registered right on time and set aside a night after school, and one day in the weekend they were just hardcore and went really, they were amazing. First prize for the intermediate category was 7,552 pods. And first prize for the secondary college, 4,105 pods. And we have an overall prize winner with the breakdown, 8,793 pods and all those 6,000 odd small vines. It's just amazing effort. We're very grateful to Pest Free Auckland for their support. We have these WOW experience prizes. This is just gives an extra dimension to some of those extra special kids in those teams. And the trips out to Rotorua Island, Tiritiri Matangi, especially showing the big why and really just help embed that knowledge and give them a love for the environment. The preschoolers get a pest-free party and an encounter at the Auckland Zoo. So we're very fortunate to have the founder of Stamp live in our area. His name is Richard Henty. He's a teacher at Howick College, so he will come along and help launch the competition for us. He's a great supporter, and if you haven't heard of if you've heard of Moth plant, you will have obviously heard of Stamp. So it's very important to record the locations, and as the competition gets launched, it goes viral on Facebook. We have all sorts of locations being phoned in. Oh, this person's got it, my neighbour's got it, I've seen it here. So we have a system where they can report that now, and everyone gets allocated to a school, and then all those locations get sent through to Richard and his team at the end of the competition. So just wanted to shout out to these local boards that are actually participating in the competition currently. We're really keen to have more local boards get involved. If you don't see your local board up there and are keen to maybe look at doing something, please do come and have a chat to me. The key with this, I believe, is having obviously local board support. But to get that, we need to have the sustainable schools, the community, and the Auckland Council biosecurity team member for that area all working together and in support of the competition and running it through the schools. So this ties in, it's our annual weed swap, ties in with the moth plant competition. It's where they can actually come along and bring all their moth plant pods and vines. We also have a push on rhamnus weeds because of our location, our coastal location. And this is open to the community as well, where they come along, bring their weeds and get a free native plant. So we don't just stop with moth plant, we try and segue into other weeds that are in the area. As you all know, there's no shortage. And it's about raising awareness, and people don't know what they don't know. They don't always see it. And it's just about encouraging others to get involved in what they can do. So very excited about this upcoming venture. The opportunity that's going to be rolling out for us is our new hub. We're working with the Tupuna Manga Authority and Pigeon Mountain Cricket Club, and this is the next stage in our project to have a base, run workshops, events, and have somewhere for our community to be able to come in and use it for their events as well. And So we have, our project consists of a lot of backyard trappers and also trappers volunteers working in our public parks and reserves. This is where there's a little animation, please, if there's someone, So you'll see this is a heat map. The timeline is across the top. When we hit sort of 2019, it's really when they all started coming on board, and you'll see the big heat spots popping up. And I just really wanted to give a shout out to those. I know there's some of them here today, Pakuranga Pest Free, working along the Tamaki estuary. We have Bucklands Beach Lions in the peninsula, and community trappers in Maclean's reserves, Evelyn Park, Curran Graydon and Lot 29, and various other reserves and parks through the Howick Ward. So we work with the Menzshed. They're an awesome group of guys, of men. They make our tunnels for us, and they also make our Trap Library East Auckland mustelid boxes. And just one, I had a little story told to me by the chairman recently about a widow who he was recently widowed, and he was really quite, lost his way a bit, and having these traps to make, he was, when's the next lot of traps coming through? And it just gave him another zest for life and something else to think about. And I really just I love to share that story, just because I thought, oh my gosh, it's actually about the people as well. It's not just about our environment, it's about our people as well, which is important. So we have our awesome trap library, which is a community initiative between Rotary Lions and Friends of Mangaroa. This group has come together and realised that we all need to work together, don't traditionally work on projects together. And we have possum traps that are available to be lent out to the community, and we also have a mustelid trap line that has been rolled out this year. It's fully funded by the Howick Local Board, and we have strategic locations that we are focusing around our areas of ecological significance and the coastline for protection to the Hauraki Gulf Treasure Islands. So we have trained volunteer, a special shout out to John Tate sitting up here. If anyone wants to talk to him about it, I'm sure he will be open to having a chat. That we've specialised lures. They're really hard animals to catch, obviously. And we've put the traps into locations, private landowner locations, just because of the expense of the trap and possible vandalism. So they will monitor the trap. John and his team go out and check it, reset it. They're pretty full-on traps for the typical backyard trapper. So I have another little video here about a ferret that we recorded, unfortunately, but in the Redoubt Road area. This was used via having the night cam monitoring equipment that we were able to purchase as part of this project. We have spotted another ferret in the Mangaroa area. So we have it on camera that they're actually there. The reason that we originally... Did it work? No, okay. He's on the right-hand side and sort of walks around. You can see it's a bit hard to see, but you can tell it's a ferret just from the movement and the long neck. But just, I guess the point of this was that, aside from some of the sightings that we have actually had called in by the public, we didn't 100% know they were there. The traps were being scavenged, and we had it on camera that there were cats scavenging. That was in Mangaroa, but there's ferrets there too. So we need to be trapping doing this mustelid line. So this is just some of the locations for the mustelid line, and to celebrate our first catch, we have had a weasel catch back in March 22, and we only started in January, so we were pretty excited to get that, and long may it continue. So we have Dr. Daria Eristova. She's now a Doctor of Ecology. I would love to have had her come along and present to you about her bird project in the Mangaroa Reserve, but that will have to be for a next time. But because she's away on doing another conference. But I really just wanted to mention Alan Riley, who was the late Alan Riley, who's passed away, used to come to these PLG meetings, and he was a great supporter of all things pest before Predator Free and before Pest Free Howick and a lot of groups. He was there, and I just wanted to acknowledge him. Ethan.
All right, so my name's Ethan. I'm a conservation assistant for Pest Free Howick, so one of 4 conservation assistants working for Pest Free Howick. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about the cadetship program that I've been running over the past it's in its second year now. So we started, it would have been about March 2021, last year with a pilot in Somerville Intermediate, and then we've slowly started to roll it out in the last few months to more schools. So the idea of a cadetship was started by Kate and Lorelle. They were really keen on getting more involvement in schools. The moth plant competition was always our big event, but we really needed something to touch on the pest animal side of things in particular. Um, and so the cadetship was an idea that would essentially address a few things. It would give students obviously an opportunity to learn, and it would, give them the skills to then go and start trapping in their local area and start making a difference. Um, I think really what's important about this is that it's that whole social aspect of an environmental issue. I mean, it's as much a matter of getting people on board as it is solving the issue itself. If we can have, say, 1,000 students out there trapping and getting rid of weeds, that's an amazing asset for our community. And then, of course, when they grow up and then they leave college and they go on to university and whatever else they do, this might be something that they then consider as a career, as I have done as well. And so we started off last year with a pilot in Somerville Intermediate, and so this was really just about me getting into the schools and starting trying out different ideas and seeing how they went, and it went really well. We started out, it was about 8 sessions. Obviously, it got interrupted by COVID every now and then, but it went amazingly well. We started off just, talking to the students about pest animals, what they are, pest plants in our area. And then we started getting a little bit more hands-on, so taking them out doing bird surveys, getting them started with monitoring tunnels, rat traps, and then we even did a night walk along Mangamanga Row, and we got to see a lot of glowworms, and we went out there with the bat detectors in the hope we might find something. We didn't on that night, but it was of course a great night, and the students were very, very keen to get started with trapping and conservation afterwards. And so this is just recently, we've started rolling it out to more schools just at the start of this year. So I've just finished at Howick Primary. We've condensed it into 5 sessions. So we start out with one session talking about, just testing what the kids' knowledge is, a little bit of an introduction. There's a really good game that we play actually, and it's called the In and Out game. We essentially have a bit of rope and we pretend that it's the border of a predator-free sanctuary like Zealandia, and the students have got to sort out what's good and what goes in the sanctuary and what goes out. And we get some really good discussion points. I throw in a few tricky ones in there, things like deer and rabbits, which they probably wouldn't know too much about. And then, of course, the second session, we'd go on to, learning about pest animals, and then we get a little bit more hands-on as we go throughout. So learning about pest plants, getting them working with cut and paste, rat traps, that sort of thing. And this is just recently, this was just a few days ago. We've just started in Cockle Bay Primary now, and this was an amazing little session we had the other day. We got to bring in our brand new taxidermy animals, and so I brought them in the back of my car, and I brought them into the reception, and I put them down on the chairs in the reception, and the students, they walked into the reception to go and pick up some boxes. They didn't know what they were, and they got a little bit of a fright, I think, seeing these taxidermy animals sitting in the waiting room of the school reception. But it was amazing. As you can see, it's a great tool to have for the kids to engage. I think we talk about, what's the difference between a ship rat and a Norway rat, and I'll explain to them these features and try and show pictures, but really you need something there to actually show them what the difference is. And so with the cadetship, we're planning on rolling it out into more schools. Of course, this is what we call the bronze stage, so it's just getting students started at the primary school level, but we're planning on, once we've got it more established, we're going to start rolling it out into a silver and gold stage, sort of like Geographic, and you can see how it would cross over really well with that. So of course silver would be them more getting involved in their school, and then gold would be, very independent, and they'd go out to the community and work on projects. So aside from the cadetship, there's a lot of other things that we've been up to. So you can see here, this is one of our big festival events. So we try and hold these about once a term, so about 4 a year, and we'll host them at one of the local schools. And it's just open to anyone in the community to come along and find out about Pest Free Howick, pick up a rat trap, maybe pick up a bottle of weed gel and get started. So this is another project we've been working on. It's a massive planting project at Mission Heights Junior College. We've got 19,000 native plants going in and around this bike track they've got. So an absolutely massive project you've got there. And as you can see, it's feeding into some of the established bush, the remnant established bush that you've still got in the area. Another big big scale restoration project we've got going. There was, of course, Music Point's a very strategic location for us, located very near to those treasure islands in the Hauraki Gulf. Of course, there are a lot of weeds still there on Music Point. So you've got these big phoenix palms and all sorts of moth plant and rhamnus and everything. So that's all just recently been cleared, and there's going to be a whole lot of native plants going into that area just next to the Howick Golf Course to provide a little bit more of a habitat for native birds that are looking to cross over into the area. Of course, we've been very fortunate to make our way into a few awards. So the NZ Biosecurity Awards and Pest Free Auckland, we're very fortunate to be finalists in those. And of course, our grateful thanks to many, many groups, and there's many more that are not on that list. There's many supporters here in the room today, and our thanks go out to you. And that's it. Thank you.